The Earth people who can think are so frightened by those who cannot. The dead. The dead.
Listen, if you talked to Charles, he probably told you that I was assigned to the case of the missing boy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 51 of Viral Venom. Last week was the 50th episode, which is super exciting. So you may notice that I'm here by myself right now. Anthony's not here as he's getting ready to film starting tomorrow. So tonight you're stuck with me. As you may know or may not know, I'm our new co-host, Christopher Lee Jansen. Fact that I'm on my own tonight might be kind of scary, not for me, maybe for you, because I'm kind of this strange feral creature. So we'll see how this goes. Actually, it's going to be absolutely epic because we have a fantastic guest tonight. Our guest who will be joining me is Wren Valentino, and I know that we've got so much to talk about. So without any further ado, let's welcome Wren. Hello, Wren.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. So I am super excited about this. I've never had a chance to work with you nor to talk to you. So I'll admit that I've been stalking your socials all week and looking at all the different things you've done. And as I was looking, I'm going, what? There's so much. I mean, actor and producer and writer. And did I see dancer in there somewhere or did I hallucinate that?
Yeah, in a former life, absolutely, for many years.
Right. Yeah. We have to talk about that too. So there's just so much. But other than what I managed to stalk out of your socials, you in your own words tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me here. It's great to meet you. And I'm sure at some point our creative paths are going to cross other than this in some really awesome way. Sure. I'm a storyteller in all different forms. I just love telling a great story, whether it's on stage or on screen or on page, as an actor, as a director, as a writer, all those things. And I consider myself a multi-hyphenate. I just have like a bunch of different titles after me always, but that's because there's so many things that I love to do. And I feel like life is really short. And so when you're able to do the things that you love to do and surround yourself with other people who love to do those same things, it makes for a really great, fulfilled life for sure. So that's at the heart of it. I'm really just a storyteller. Of course, I love horror films, horror movies. Horror is my absolute true love of a genre. It's where I started. It's where I still am. So just absolutely love everything about it. So just telling the stories the best way that I can. I love to tell stories about ordinary people that are experiencing extraordinary circumstances that sort of leave them forever changed. And horror is a great genre for that to happen, or to build and shape creatively. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Excellent. So you've been on this show before, right?
No, this is my first time. I was so honored when Mandy and Anthony asked me to come on. I watched it. I watched the show, but never haven't been on yet.
So this won't be a redundant question. We ask this question of everybody who's on the show for the first time. So I'm glad I get to be the first one here to ask you this. What's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie, it's going to be a little cliche. I bet a lot of people pick this one. So I wish I was more original in my answer, but I got to go with the original Halloween, because that is the movie that I fell in love with, specifically the slasher subgenre. I think it's just such a masterful horror movie for many reasons. So I have others, but that's the top one for sure.
You can't go wrong with that answer. I would never roll my eyes at anybody who answers that way.
Right. Thank you.
Mine is Poltergeist.
Oh, that's in my top 3. I loved Poltergeist. I have a quick story. When Poltergeist came out when I was like 11 or 12. That dated myself, but I lied and told my mom I was going to the movies to see The Man from Snowy River, which was out at the same time, because I wasn't allowed to see Poltergeist, and I snuck and saw Poltergeist, and I was so terrified that I almost confessed that I didn't go see The Man from Snowy River. But I'll never forget that, like, instant karma for lying to my mother. I got scared the hell out of myself at the movie theater. But such a great film. I love everything about Poltergeist.
My license plate even says Tangina. I mean, that's who I am. I'm this little psychic that runs around and does crazy things. So there's that. We definitely want to talk about your current projects and everything you've got going now, but let's back up for a second.
Sure.
For just a moment, I'm going to use the word younger. I'm not going to say young Wren, because we're both still young.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We'll say younger Wren. You know that moment when they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What would your answer have been back then? Is it the things you're doing now, or would it have been something way out there? What was the answer?
It's exactly what I'm doing now. I knew by the time I was 7 what I wanted to. I had really good teachers, really good teachers that helped shape that and pull that out of me. But I knew, I mean, at that time I wanted to specifically be a writer. I was such a voracious reader. I read everything I could get my hands on as a young person, as the younger Wren, as you say. So and that the love for reading just sort of evolved into writing. And so at a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a writer. And then the other stuff came later. It all kind of stemmed from the writing, for sure. But it all started with that creative imagination of a 7-year-old. I was so fascinated by what scared people, which is why I fell in love with horror movies, for sure.
Very nice. I love hearing when anybody says that's what their dream was from early on, and they're able to do it. They're able to embrace that and make that a part of their life. That's so cool. That makes me really happy. Now jumping to the other end of that.
Yeah.
Let's say you woke up one day in this midlife crisis. Just a random question. If you were to wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to do something completely different that I've never done before, what would that be?
Probably something completely not in the entertainment industry, quite honestly. I don't know. I thought I've always wanted to travel and maybe become a travel writer in some capacity. I love learning languages. So probably something to do with language learning or the teaching of languages. I love learning about other cultures. I love exploring. So probably something along those lines, something to do with language and traveling and meeting different people from different cultures. All those things make me very happy to do. I don't get to do them very much because of my crazy schedule, but when I get that opportunity, my soul kind of sings when I'm in those situations in a really cool way. So love it for sure. That would probably be, I think it's too late to be like an Olympic ice skater or anything like that for myself in my life. But
I mean, I said, we are both still young, so there's still time.
It's true. Yeah. I probably wouldn't score very high in my first regional competition, but it might be worth it. No, but I mean, I have a lot of other interests too. I love a film noir. I write movie reviews. I love cinema. I've been a teacher for many years too. But those are all things I've already done. So I think if I was to do something I hadn't done before and completely change my my career, I would go into something to do with languages and traveling and so forth.
Very cool. You never know where life's path will take you.
So true.
I tend to never write anything out or write anything off.
Yeah, I've learned to never say never, because I said never a few times and then ate my words for saying it, like, 2 months later. So there's that for sure.
For sure. I completely understand that. For the first 37 years of my life, I was insistent that I'd established in my hometown, and I had a business going and all was going on. I'm never leaving. And then I ended up moving to a different state the day before everything shut down. So never is just not vocabulary. Wow. I get it.
Yeah, the universe was acting quickly for you. It's like, we're going to transplant you and then turn everything upside down. So
I can't do anything like a normal person.
I think we probably have that in common for sure.
So when I saw dancer as one of the things you do, I was super fascinated because, I've danced my entire life. I used to own a dance studio. I used to compete in ballroom. I've done many, many different modalities of dance throughout my life. Tell me about that. What's been your experience there? I was so excited to read that.
Yeah. So when I was really young, the younger Wren again, sorry. I went to high school in the Bay Area in California, which there was a plethora of opportunities to dance there. But I saw a little flyer at my high school that said casting for a local dance TV show. And I cut school. I cut all my afternoon classes, jumped on a bus, went across town, showed up at this gymnasium where they were having auditions. I went in and they had me dance to a Janet Jackson song, just freestyle. And later that night, they called my parents and said, he's been chosen for the show. So I was on a dance TV show growing up for about a year and a half of my life, from 15 to 16 in the Bay Area, which is where I really fell in love with dancing. And then after that was really when I started to pursue it in terms of more formally of getting some training and so forth. And then I was involved in cheerleading for about 12 years of my life too, as a cheerleader and then as a coach. And so at college level and high school and so forth. So that was a ton of like halftime entertainment and dancing and so forth. So my dancing background is mostly I'd say hip hop and street. Couldn't do a lot of that now, but the younger Wren sure did a very good job at that. But I love, dancing, when you think about it, is another form of storytelling, because you're just telling the story physically and putting it to music. So I wasn't surprised that I ended up there, because I have such a deep love for music and movement, and and just watching other people dance and what that experience is like for them, and it's a visceral art form, and I just love it. So and now I have just a deep admiration for people who do it, and the great choreographers of the world and so forth.
Absolutely. In any training you may have taken, what would you say would be your number one all-time ever favorite style? Even if you only stuck your toes in for just a little bit, it just got your heart.
Yeah. I was really lucky when my first year at college cheerleading camp. My instructor was an LA Lakers cheerleader named Paula Abdul. So I say everything I learned from about, and I love her style. What I love about, she's also a very lovely person, but I love that hybrid, that nod to the formal, nod to the old school, like the tap dancing and all of the different forms of dance, and melding that into modern. I think it's just, in contemporary dance, I think it's just amazing when they take elements of the classic and blend it with street dancing. I think it's just such a phenomenal mixture of the two, because it's such a nod to the people that came before us, those great dancers and choreographers.
Oh, for sure.
Made all those great musicals and so forth. But then it's also showing how much dance has changed, and just how the art form has evolved in such a beautiful, awesome way. So, and I think, I think I love dance so much because it's so cinematic, right? Because it films, or can film so well.
For sure.
and add to an element too. I'm not a huge musical fan per se, but I am a big dance fan, if that makes any sense. So, put a
pre-recorded. There's a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, they're threaded together in many ways, but there's a difference. I completely get that. I see we have a comment here from Josh saying, hi, Wren. So everybody's excited you're here.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
So moving a bit more into some of your acting roles.
Yeah.
I was looking at your IMDb, and there's so much there. My goodness.
Yeah. And
why don't we move ahead to current? What's currently on your radar? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to be a cast member on Horror Hound Bites with Mary Kate, which is produced by our gracious host, Anthony and Mandy. Mandy writes,
Absolutely.
so I play Velvet Vane, which is a former fashionista in his afterlife. So I get to be very like snarky and sassy and decadent and kind of glamorous. And that's all because of Mandy. Mandy writes the best dialogue for me of any writer I've ever worked with. And she just knows, like, I think, like, and we've never even been in the same room, like, other than virtually. And so the fact that she's able to get my sense of humor, like, tap into that in such a really great, profound way and give me this delicious dialogue week after week after week, I just love it. And we're working on the 4th episode now. I've had so much fun. It's such a remarkable, talented cast. And Anthony and Andy have been wonderful in terms of, at the helm and producing and so forth. So that's my most current project is that, but I've also been working on a couple of other stuff. I on the non-horror side, I just recently played a newscaster in a romance film that comes out in October called Snow Falling on Pumpkins, written and directed by a wonderful director and writer, Jeff London. And it's so weird because I've loved Jeff London's movies for probably a decade. And then to be in something as an actor, I'm playing a newscaster, Steve Winters, a small part, but I'm there, I'm in a movie with somebody that I really admire. So that opportunity has not been lost on me to work with folks that I've admired. But I also work a lot with SRS Cinema. I do a lot of voice work for them with Ron Bonk over there and have done a lot of great, had a lot of fun working with him on a lot of different voice stuff. I've always been an actor, like at the stage level. I've done a lot of like classic, like Shakespeare and a lot of British comedy and funny stuff, on stage. And then I kind of put that aside after college. And then during the pandemic, which you were just talking about, I was bored at home and didn't have a whole lot to do. And I took a voice acting class with an actress from a Nickelodeon TV show, and it was for animation. And I thought, oh, that sounds like something fun to do. Like, since we're all at home doing not a whole lot. And I just fell in love with it. I thought it was great. And then a casting director friend of mine, about a year after that, I posted some TikTok video or something I'd done. She's like, you'd be really great for voice acting. I was like, oh, it's funny that you say that. I took a class. So she's like, she sent me some scripts. She said, read this, record yourself reading this. And I did, and I sent it to her. And then she called me back. She's like, I got you booked for 3 different voice roles. And so it just kind of went from there. And then I worked on Friday the 13th Blood Loss and Killer Pizza both, I'm working on Killer Pizza with Mandy and Anthony. And I was a radio caller, so I did voice acting in Friday the 13th. And then that led to working with them on Horror Hound Bites. So it started out very small and just kind of a fun thing. And I do have training in acting, but it's not a muscle that I flexed a lot in my life, especially on screen. And then the voice acting just kind of evolved. And now almost everything I'm doing is on screen now, which including Horror Hound Bites. So it's interesting. We were talking earlier about how life kind of just intervenes sometimes. This is what I've got planned for you. And I think we're probably somewhere. I just kind of went with it. I'm just going with it and just kind of seeing where. And I just finished working on my 35th film over that's 3 years. And so it's just been wonderful, amazing people. I love the horror community. It's close knit. Everybody knows each other, lifts each other up in such an awesome way. I've met some of the nicest people, coolest people. It just, over the last couple of years that I've really been focusing on this. So yeah. And I have a little home studio, otherwise known as my closet that I go into and record, no luxury for me, but it gets the job done. And then
as long as it's functional.
Right. Exactly. Functional is the best way and no cost, it's for sure, but it's a quiet space. So yeah, I just kind of going with it until they tell me no more. So
very cool. I see we've got Chadwick and Amanda in the comments saying hello. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. So one of the things you mentioned led me into a question I was going to ask you anyway. You said you recently were involved in a romance.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, is there a genre that you've wanted to have more involvement in, or that you haven't had a chance to work in yet, that you've had your sights set on?
Well, that's so interesting. I'm going to frame this very carefully because it's going to sound like I'm pitching people, and I kind of am, but I love the horror genre. And I'm waiting for somebody to come along and sort of turn it upside down. And write a role for me in a leading role. And then I would really like to see, more diversity in horror. I would love to see more representation in those leading roles from LGBTQIA plus community. That community, my community, we love horror movies, and we would love to see more of ourselves. And I just keep waiting for those filmmakers to. I mean, it's happening a little bit, but not on that higher level that you want it to.
Right.
Again, I feel like I'm pitching, but I would love that opportunity. I would love to be in something that's super iconic for that community in particular, that really flips the horror genre upside down in a really cool way about representation, because there's great stories to tell there too. And that's kind of my hope. That's my hope. But I do, as a writer, I work in 4 genres. I work in young adult, mystery thriller, romance, and horror. So those are the 4. But the most of the work I've done on the acting side and producing and directing even has been in the horror genre. But that's kind of my hope. That's like, I'm just putting it out in the universe. Who knows who hears it? Maybe it'll be heard, maybe it won't be. But I just think that would be an awesome, awesome thing. And I think people would show up in droves for something like that, because it would be so groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Just throwing that out there to whoever's listening.
Love that. Maybe this ties into that a little bit, or maybe it just takes you down a different road too. Either way. But what would you say at this point? I say at this point because I know this is something that changes all the time. What would your dream role be? What's the number one thing you want to sink your teeth into for an acting role?
Oh, wow. That's such a great, I'd love to be the final guy in something, but who wouldn't, right? Instead of the final girl, final guy. I mean, yeah, there's so much that there's so many people that I would love to work with. Right. So, on the non-horror side, I'm a huge Jessica Lange fan, who of course did American Horror Story, among other things. But I would love to be in a scene with her. I don't care what I say or do, or just to be in the presence of greatness. I would really just love, I would love something comedic. I feel like people have told me that I'm really funny, and I have not got to do a lot of that yet. Sort of on that improv, goofy kind of side of things, and very quick-witted. I get to do that a little bit with Horror Hound Bites, thanks to that great dialogue that Mandy writes for me. But more of that, I think, is really,
she really is.
Yeah. No, she's one of the best people I've worked with in this industry, bar none. But I would really love to do something more along that kind of comedic route. I feel like the world is full of so much drama right now, and I've done a ton of drama, like, on stage and so forth, that I would love to make people laugh. But, and who doesn't love a good love story? I write a lot of those, and I love those too, and I'd love to do that at some point too in my career. I mean, love stories for all ages, all types, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, something along those lines. But yeah, I watch, in terms of television, it's kind of strange because most of what I watch is very British. Like, I watch a lot of British TV. And I don't know if I'd ever be on a British show because I'm not British, but the storytelling on those shows, like those, really intense detective shows from the UK, would be really fun too, on the darker side of things, for sure. But yeah, I'd love to keep growing as an actor. I feel like, I know it's such a cliche, but those things that take us out of our comfort zone are really the things that really make you flex and grow as an actor. For sure. So I, when I take pause and be like, oh, do I really want to do this? That's usually when I'm like, yeah, this is the thing I need to do so I can grow a little bit. So yeah, I love the collaboration. I love the collaboration of filmmaking. And that's really what I would love to continue to do, is just to collaborate with some really awesome creative people.
Right. I do think a comedy would be super fun. I mean, I don't know if I'm actually funny, but I crack myself up to no end. I mean, to me, I'm like
somebody should write one for both of us, right? That would be really funny. We could be funny.
But my dream role, I have to be possessed. I absolutely have to be possessed.
Oh, I love that. I
know.
That's fun. Because really, when you think about it, there's no rules. Like, you can break every rule you can do whatever you want because you're possessed.
And I even said before, I'm feral the way it is. So it's just, I was meant for that role.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that happens for you. That would be awesome. Let's make it affirmative. It will happen for you. I can't wait.
It will happen.
Yeah.
I love that. So what is the most challenging role you've taken on?
Ooh, probably definitely something for stage, but I'm going to think of something for film. I had to do something not too long ago. It's kind of a funny challenge hey Paul, just saying hello to people who are saying hi. I got a script. I won't name the studio that I worked for, but I got a script and it was really vague, and it said make ghost sounds. Like make ghost sounds was the direction that I got, and I'm like, what is it? And I went back to Poltergeist literally in my head because I was like, what is a ghost sound? Because you know what I mean? Like, is there a definitive ghost sound? I mean, I thought of some things, but I didn't want to be like, the poor man's version of Casper, like in my sound recording. So that was a struggle, and I literally I think I had to research that one line of direction that I got more than like anything I've done before, because I'm like, is there such a I was like, it was lost on me. I was like, is there a definitive ghost sound out there? So I ended up doing some just random 5 different takes of different haunting kind of sounds. I went to The Conjuring and a bunch of films that had that kind of ghost atmospheric soundscape in it to just listen. And then I just kind of duplicated what I heard and put my own spin on it. But and then I guess it works. I didn't hear anything otherwise, and they used it. But it was just funny, it sounds like a ghost. And I was like, okay.
Amanda's got a great suggestion here about mashing it all together and being the final guy in a horror comedy.
Amanda, you're speaking my language. Yes.
If we write that script, can we have a character that's possessed? Can we just really bring it all?
There you go.
I saw a comment too from Josh saying that he also works from a closet. So
yeah,
it's
practical voice actors.
It's a thing. Researching the ghost noises, that's probably the greatest story I've ever heard about researching for a role. That's fantastic.
Thank you. That's fun. It was fun. I mean, in the moment I was a little anxious, but afterwards it made for a great story to tell afterwards. But
have you ever been in any sort of role where afterward you've looked back and said, never again, I'm not doing that again?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of things that the level of violence, I love horror movies, but for when things get a little too exploitive and not useful to the story, I think that's where I sometimes will take a little bit of pause and I don't know if I think when our names are on it, we have a different level of responsibility in terms of content, and we're not, as an actor, we're not always, never, rarely in charge of content. So, that would probably be the thing. I mean, I can't think of a specific project that I was afterwards, filled with regret, because I try to learn from everything that I do. But I think probably more is that inner critic, that self-critic in me. When I hear it or see it, I'm like, man, I could have made some better choices as an actor. So, we all do it, beating ourselves up a little bit. I try not to do it too much because it's not good on the self-love side of things. But right. I think we're our own worst critic for sure. But
for sure. And you do need to do what honors you. I mean, if something doesn't feel right, if it doesn't fit, and I guess it's good to have had the experience, and then you just move on and say, well, we're not going down that road again.
Yeah. Very fortunate to have those lessons in our lives, right? To show up when we need them and to be aware of them, I think is probably the key thing for sure.
Definitely. Since we're right about here at the halfway point, I'm going to take a moment to shout out our sponsors. First, we've got Cheeto Ray's Wicked Worldwide. We've got Terror Cards. And we've got Stag Mountain Films. So everybody go check out their sites, check out their apps, check out their pages. You will not regret it. What does Amanda say here? You could definitely be possessed in a horror comedy. It would work perfectly. Start in the same movie together. There we go. It's all right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, a possessed horror comedy. That's just gold right there. I'm sure you've seen.
Maybe Mandy could probably write that for us. Just saying,
I think she could.
Right? I think she'd do an excellent job at that.
Repossessed is actually one of my favorite movies. Have you ever seen that?
I have. That's a fun one.
That's a gem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think my favorite scene is just after she vomits and he does it back. Just the look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reciprocal vomiting, right?
That is gold.
Well, and that movie is a classic for many reasons.
Oh, so many reasons. So you said something about being a teacher as well.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about that, or tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I've been a teacher for about 20, a little over 20 years at the college level. I teach a lot of creative writing, a lot of screenwriting, playwriting. I do teach acting and theater. I was a department chair for a theater program in the college for about 3 years. And I have left the traditional classroom a couple of years ago, but I now teach a series of online writing workshops for writers called Workshops with Wren. And it's for writers of all genres and levels of experience in different forms. And we just finished our first session season of that over the summer, and it was really great. I worked with a lot of wonderful, talented writers. So we're getting our fall classes all put together. And I had such exceptional teachers growing up. I had remarkable, and librarians who both shaped my life as a writer in a huge way. And I fell in love with teaching. I think there's element to it about paying it forward, or sharing knowledge, or enriching or empowering people, or having some sort of impact, having some small impact in a series of small impacts that lead to big impact in people's lives. Just love teaching. I love being able to help a writer, a young writer, new writer, not necessarily young in age, but like young in terms of experience,
Right.
find their voice and find their purpose. I try to instill in my students that, they have a story in them that only they can tell. And then just kind of giving them the tools to be able to tell that story. And I've been very fortunate. I've written 21 novels now, and I've had 16 of those were bestsellers. And I was really, really lucky. I had a lot of people help me and lift me up. So I really love to be able to do that myself, and sharing a lot of business acumen about, working with a traditional publisher versus self-publishing, all those things. I worked with 7 publishers over my career. And so can offer all of that and share it, and how people avoid pitfalls and cost and, disappointment. And a lot of times too, I don't know if you experience this, but a lot of young creative people that I meet, if they're not in a creative environment, or they don't come from a necessarily creative family, I think one of the hardest things is to sometimes we have to inspire ourselves or motivate ourselves, because there's not anybody going, go write that short story, go write that novel, go write that screenplay. It's more like, when is this writing hobby of yours going to be over with, and you're going to do something real, right? I think a lot of people get those messages from non-creative people, and it can be really debilitating in a really horrible way. And so I think writing is such like the horror community, writing is such a beautiful community too, because it just brings all these great people together. So there's so many aspects of teaching that I just absolutely love. So I feel like it's something I will do in some form, hopefully for the rest of my life, because I just love that exchange of knowledge and resources, and really helping somebody better themselves or better their craft. And that's really what it's about. And it's really just a nod to all the great teachers that I was so fortunate to have, and mentors and folks that continue to help me. It takes a lot to help me. So I appreciate all of those. I appreciate that village, that team that helps keep me together for sure. And just, I consider myself a lifelong learner. I don't think we ever stop learning, and just being open to that.
That's beautiful. I love that you've got that village behind you, and that you can be part of that village for others. For sure, if there's not someone there with you to stoke those creative fires, it is difficult to reach one's full potential. So
that's so true. That's so true. Yeah. And if I could be at least one friendly voice in that symphony of voices that a lot of folks have in their lives, and to be the positive, the motivator, because people did that for me. And so, yeah, I hear you on that for sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have that village. It took a while to get that village in place, but now that it's like, I got a good team, a really good team behind me, and they helped me do all the things that we talked about earlier that I love to do. I couldn't do it without some support. That's for sure.
Definitely. So you've got a lot of projects behind you. You've done so many really cool things. Do you ever, at this point, step into something and still find yourself nervous or any of those emotions?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm never nervous, because yes, for sure. And I think I still get that. I get excited. I get like that butterfly feeling of like, oh, we're going to make a movie, or, oh, I'm going to audition for something, or, oh, I'm going to the table read for the new script, or my book's coming out, right? That's the anxiety galore. But but I love that feeling. I love that feeling of newness and of discovery, of just what's coming up and what the journey, this part of the lot bigger journey, but this small part of the journey, these steps that I'm taking into this new thing can be very exciting. But yeah, the nerves do hit me. I mean, there's days when I feel really confident. There's other days I'm like, rethinking every choice I've ever made in my life up to that point. So it just kind of, I think it just ebbs and flows and just kind of depends on where we are with other things, around us. And we try not to let us distract us or interfere with our focus, but it happens, for sure. I think where I get the most unsure of myself is playing a character type that I've never played before. So like something that might be against the usual type because there's like 5 types that they're going to cast me in usually. But and I know this, but just fine. But like getting in something that just I've never been in those shoes before. I think that's where I get a little bit like, oh, can I pull this off kind of thing. So. And then I just dig in and do the research and do the work and try my best. That's all you really can do. And learn from it, always.
I'd love to hear a little bit about what those 5 character types are, how you describe them. I'd love to hear that.
Well, I get cast a lot as the sassy best friend, the very, a lot of like sassy, sarcastic, funny, quick-witted kind of stuff. I've played a lot of newscasters. I've done a lot of radio callers and so forth. I've done a few roles where I'm like calling into like tech support, like customer service. I've been the answer on a lot of like voicemails and outgoing messages and ingoing messages. So, but in terms of type, I clearly, there's certain types of personalities that I'm going to play much more authentically than others for sure. In terms of just, fluidity and so forth, and just how one is perceived on camera. Voice, mannerisms, all that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of British comedy. And which is funny because I'm not British. I'm half Canadian and half American, but not British. But which has been fun. I don't know if it's the dialect, which I'm not the world's, I'm not perfect in the dialogue, but I can hold my own a little bit with a UK dialogue. But that, and then I've done, I get cast a lot in like classical stuff, so I haven't played like medical. I've played a detective, but I've not played like a doctor or a nurse or like somebody that's like really super smart. So I'm waiting to play like one of those like high level intelligent people, like, I don't even think I've played a teacher yet, but that's, I could play that, but not like probably somebody that's like super high level academia. Maybe, but I don't know. I like playing like the interesting. I love playing the flawed characters. I love playing like, the ones that kind of just blurt things out without thinking, that are kind of unpredictable. Those are the fun roles that, but what I've not done yet is I've not played a villain. I've always been like the nice, more positive kind of role. I think Velvet Vein on Horror Houndbites and he's not really a villain, but his snark is sometimes venomous, like viral venom, but well, not like in that, maleficent, dark kind of villainous way. But yeah, so that's, more to do. I don't know if I could pull off a villain though. I feel like I could, like if I dig deep into that like darker side of myself, maybe, but I would be up for the challenge for sure. Oh, maybe in the possessed horror comedy that I'll get to play maybe I'll play the villain. Yeah.
There we go.
Like I could be like a villainous priest or something, right? That's like trying to like sabotage your exorcism in some way or something. I don't know.
Somebody really has to write this.
Right? I know.
Right? All the time.
Right? I'm ready. Let's do it.
I can definitely see like that. You mentioned the sarcastic, sassy best friend role. I can definitely see that. That's fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of, and you often get some really fun dialogue with that too. So
that right there unto itself is an archetype, for God's sake. Everybody needs the sassy, sarcastic best friend.
Yeah. And if there's Mandy, hi Mandy. We've been raving about you, Mandy. We've had a Mandy love fest for the whole show for good reason.
Everybody loves Mandy,
right? Yeah, ray of sunshine. It's so creative and so talented. But yeah, no, yeah, and if that's all I play for the rest of my life is the sassy best friend or the sassy, I'm good because like it's an art form in of itself. I really feel.
Amanda says, I'd totally watch it. Love Repossessed, Devil in the Blue Dress. That was
Yeah.
such a great scene. For those of you who've not seen Repossessed, you need to go watch it. It is a classic. So if you could go back in time, any movie that you would have loved to have had a role in from any era, and I'm not necessarily asking you to step into a particular role. I mean, if you want to answer it that way, you can, but just any movie that you think, oh, I would have loved to have had a role in that.
Yeah, I've got some. I
Oh,
got a
there's
couple of
Mary
answers.
Kate. Hey, Mary Kate. Love
Hello,
you.
Mary Kate, who's just so lovely. Mary Kate is just an absolutely lovely human being,
The
and
best.
so beautiful and so talented. I have a couple of answers for you, so pick and choose.
Yes, go for it.
One is definitely not horror related, but I love classic film noir from like the 1940s, like those dark, brooding, street lamp and fog and all that. The femme fatale and the whole. I would have loved to have gone back in time and to been in one of those with like the fedora and the whole bit, the Humphrey Bogart kind of era. I'm a huge fan of like Barbara Stanwyck and those types of actresses from the past, those femme fatales like Gloria Graham, who I'm just obsessed with. And so I would have loved to have been in a 1940s or 50s classic film noir movie, Double Indemnity or something like Blue Gardenia, something. There's so many that I love because I just love that genre of movie making. But fast forward to today, my secret. So I remember we were talking about favorite film. Halloween is my favorite horror film. But my favorite horror film franchise is Final Destination because I think it's so clever for writing. I think Jeffrey Reddick, who creator, is a creative genius, I think, and a really awesome human being too. But I would secretly wish to be in, even if it's in one scene, to be involved somehow in the Final Destination franchise. And I'm so glad that the Bloodlines movie has revived that franchise a little bit, much needed. So who knows? But film noir, if I went back in time and then moving forward in today, I would love to do something related to anything related to Final Destination. I think the writing in that is so clever about the ways people are killed and so forth, and it's just that fear of what's coming next. Just a great formula for good movie making.
Oh, for sure. Those are some great answers. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great question. It's a fun question.
I try to do it. I can.
These are great questions.
Oh, thank you. I see that Paul had some great comments here too. He said this was a very inspirational conversation. He also said that he's a bus driver and appreciates when they come to him for advice or ask him questions, and also made a comment about just that lack of stoking the creativity sometimes and how we can get stuck there. And he's going through that right now. So.
Oh yeah,
now, Paul also says, "What about Chucky?"
I love Jennifer Tilly, so I definitely love. Yeah, Chucky's just a phenomenon, right? Like,
absolutely,
there's all good versions of Chucky. The TV series was phenomenal, and I really wanted them to get another season. But so clever, so
it
clever.
was so good.
Yeah.
I think for me,
going back to who was it that you said was a bus driver? Was that Paul? Paul. Yeah, I think that feeling of being stuck is so universal. I think all creative folks, when you're doing that 9 to 5 or that daily 40-hour week or 50-hour week grind, and you have to be a lot of things to a lot of people in your life, and you have a lot of adulting is no fun, right? I'd rather go to the movies all day than be an adult. But I think, working through that feeling of being stuck and finding those pockets of time for yourself where you're fueling that creativity, whether you're thinking about stuff or planning stuff, I think just working through that and trying to find something in that feeling of being stuck to power you through that stuckness to get you to the next level of creativity can be really fun. And just keep showing up for things like this and just being part of the community, and you'll get your soul will get a little bit more refueled. So I just wanted to share that because so many people I know, and I felt that way too before, just being stuck at a certain place and wanting to level up or change things up, but just having those responsibilities sometimes in life just don't allow us to do all the things that we love to do in the moment. So it'll come. Just keep at it. Do not stop, and it'll find its way to you.
That's such great advice. So thank you to Paul for bringing that
Yeah,
out, giving an opportunity for you to say that. And I think anybody who has heard that or will hear that can definitely benefit from that. So
I hope so.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So other than current projects, anything you've got going on right now, what's coming down the road? What
So many exciting things. So many
near
exciting
future, or even if it's not near future, even if it's like, hey, 20 years down the road, you think you're doing this? What's coming up for Wren?
Yeah, so exciting about that. So I'm going to be directing a short film in October called Homecomings, which is about two women that were rivals in high school, and they meet up in a laundromat 25 years after high school and have a showdown of great proportions. It's very, very intense film about female rivalry and envy, the perception of envy and who has a better life and so forth, and secrets being read. Two wonderful, beautiful actresses. I have an amazing director of photography. We're filming that here in Sacramento, where I live, on location, which we're very excited about. And then a wonderful film director named Adam Michael. I was executive producer on a film he directed and wrote called Shredded, which is on Apple TV and Tubi and I think Amazon as well. It's a beautiful film about two people, a man and a woman, who sort of find a human connection through surfing, like surfing in the water, and they're both healing in their lives, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful film. And I was an executive producer on that, and then Adam, who was the director, read some of my work and fell in love with one of my stage plays called Better Places to Go, which is like the darkest thing I've ever written. I wrote Better Places to Go, then like everything else was always lighter, so it was the dark bar for content. He loved the script. He optioned the film rights to it and bought the film rights from me for the screenplay. Turned it into a beautiful, beautiful screenplay. I shouldn't say beautiful because it's pretty violent and dark and it's really intense. It's about 10 people in a diner called Della's Diner in Grand Island, Nebraska. You know, you can't get more Midwest, I think, than Grand Island, Nebraska, middle of America. Kind of a rundown place, rundown people, and there's a storm, and these 10 people get stuck in the diner together for a night, and all these like crazy secrets are revealed, and people are killed, and like all kinds of stuff happens in the course of two hours. So that goes into production in Ohio on location with Adam directing, with an amazing cast, just an incredible cast. Some of the best people. Margaret Champagne is in that, Vanessa Menendez, Michaela McIntosh who was also in Shredded. Beautiful, wonderful cast. So that goes, I think they start filming early November, and then it'll be out in like spring of 2026. They already have some distributors very interested in the project. I'm hoping to get out to be on set if my schedule allows me to get out there. I'm going to be in post-production for my short film then, so I'm hoping to make it all work. And so we're doing that. And then I wrote an original TV series called Her Other Life, which just won a big award from Faden Awards for TV pilots. And so I've gotten a lot, because of that award, I've got a lot of interest. So we've been pitching to different streamers and so forth. And it's about two teen sisters and their bipolar mother dies mysteriously, and they start to investigate and realize that she faked her own death and that she's really living a whole entire different identity. So it's kind of like a mystery thriller with two teen sisters trying to figure it all out. It's called Her Other Life, and it's been getting a lot of really great responses. So I feel like we're really close to a deal for that, at least for the pilot to get produced and then shopped around. So we'll see that. And then I'm working as a producer in a beautiful film called Daughters of Poetry that my friend Frankie Hernandez wrote and directed, that's filming down in LA, I think in December. So lots of film stuff, lots of producing, lots of writing, directing. I haven't directed in a while. So I mean, it's been years. So it's really been fun with Homecomings to kind of get my feet wet again and the whole directing thing. And I'm really enjoying it. And then next summer, I'm going to be directing a feature film version of my own screenplay called The Truants. And it's sort of it's a group of 5 teenagers that in the 80s in Sacramento who get really high and spend the day in a basement of one of their houses, and just a bunch of shit comes out, and they share who they are and their vulnerabilities and so forth. It's kind of like a Breakfast Club, a little nod to, but not so like clean as the breakfast. It's much more messy. So I like messy characters. Like one of the girls is just completely addicted to all kinds of medications and so forth. So, and it's not preachy. It's definitely like gritty in real life and so forth. So that's called The Truants. And so we're already sort of prepping for that for next summer. And then lots of acting projects. I've got a lot of things, in the queue to start working on, and just different things, and just auditioning and putting myself out there and seeing what happens and going from there. So, and just working on some, I have a urban dance themed romance novel called Fast Beat that will be out in the spring, which I'm really excited about. So we'll see how that does too.
So cool. All of that sounds super exciting. I'm
Thank you.
excited for all of that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The rivalry in the laundromat really had my attention.
Yeah.
I've got a vision in my head that's probably so inaccurate, but I'm picturing like this dynasty level Crystal and Alexis at the pool brawl with soap suds and water flying everywhere.
Yeah. We don't go that over the top, but we get pretty close. So both of the women in their younger years were both up for the homecoming queen. And one of them was supposed to win, who owns and runs the laundromat and is very bitter and has a sad life because she's held on to this grudge forever. And it's just debilitated her. And the woman who won actually had her friends cheat and stuff the ballot box in the coach's office and blah, blah, blah. And the other girl knows that this happened. And she never rightfully got the crown. She's held on to this. And I won't there's a big reveal about the woman who was actually the homecoming queen. But things get pretty tense and nasty between these two women. So there's that for sure. But it's so fun. I mean, I know exactly that reference that you're speaking about, and that's such a great iconic moment. May this film like even come close to that iconic moment. But yeah,
I knew you'd get that, and I don't know how many others will, but I knew you would. So thank you for not disappointing me.
No, I speak that language very well. That was such a, I remember there's very iconic TV. There's a few iconic TV moments that just resonate forever. So.
Oh, absolutely. I've referenced that so many times over the years. I see Amanda's got no snakes in the coop tonight. That's a good thing. Yay, Amanda. Happy to hear that for you.
Yay.
And Paul says, I really need to learn how to sell my stories like you.
Oh, thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's a lot of practice. A lot of practice. Yeah. But no, I mean, when nothing. I think all writers, creators, storytellers love to talk about our work, and thank you to Anthony and Mandy for giving us this platform for such a so many artists to come on and talk about the things that we do is just so wonderful. But I think nobody can talk about your stories, Paul, better than you can, because you love them more than anybody else does, right? They're from you. They're an extension of, I don't have children's, but like my stories and all that, my books, and kind of a version of children, because you set them out in the world and hope they behave well. But I think the more you do it and the more you talk about your stories, I think that that passion will always come through if you love what you do.
Right. I'm going to say nobody else can tell your story the way you can, Paul.
That's so true.
And maybe you'll gain inspiration from others that you can use to enhance that, but still it's yours. Nobody's going to tell it the way you do. So don't forget that.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
So many exciting things coming up. Well, before we get to the end here and before I forget, I just want to throw out that next week's episode is the Clown Motel takeover. That is going to be super exciting. I probably won't sleep all week waiting for that. I almost didn't sleep this week. I was so excited to come and talk to you.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that a whole lot. Yeah. Clown Motel, I think I'm involved in one of maybe the third, one of them that's coming up. I'm involved in some, I can't remember. but I mean, I've never been to the actual Clown Motel. I know people have gone there, but I'm so it's one of those things I want to go because I'm so intrigued by it, but at the same time, it just seems so terrifying to me. So I'm kind of going to see it. But,
Oh, Mandy's dressing up for next week.
Oh, it's a must watch. Everybody's got to tune in and watch next week for sure. It's multiple reasons, right? Yeah, but I love the Clown Motel series. It's very clever and very fun.
It is.
Next episode will be so much fun. You're gonna be here too, right?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Oh, good. Yeah, definitely. We'll be tuning in to watch that because it'll be a lot of fun. And you got to see what Mandy's gonna wear, right?
Absolutely. That's gonna be one of the many highlights of the night, I'm sure.
Yep.
I don't know. I suppose even I could dress up.
Yeah, it's true, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Do I have anything that would be like Clown Motel? But yeah. Write that horror comedy. Yeah. Mandy, we've got a tall order for you. We'll talk after the show. Yeah. But I love what I do because I get to meet so many great people, yourself included, and get to come and meet and just think about collaboration and creativity merging in different ways and so forth. And that is such a beautiful perk of that is the community. And I talk about that a lot because I absolutely love the horror community. I go to Sinister Creature Con a lot every time they have it here in Sacramento where I live. And hanging out with people like Felissa Rose and just lovely, lovely people from the industry that are just so full of love.
She is so sweet.
Yeah, she's given me multiple motivational conversations before that have lifted me up just when I needed them, and big as her. But I just find that there's so much love and acceptance and inclusivity and just warmth, and we all love scary movies, and we love being scared, and we love finding ways to scare people, and we love good stories, and I just love that connection that everybody has. That I don't often find that in other film genres, and so just want to take a moment just to really celebrate the horror community because I just think it's one of the most incredible, generous, and I know that when one of us is down, so many people jump in and lift that person up. So it's just remarkable to see it. It's and it's a close knit small community, and I feel like the more you work on like independent horror films, which there's so many, including the work that Anthony and Mandy are doing. So many great, that's where all the great storytelling is happening right now, is those independent horror films. So
right,
if you're watching this, get involved with that community and be a part of support the projects, donate, get involved, use your voice, use your money to help get great stories continue to be on screen. But I just love the community so much, and everybody's been so great to me. I've met some of the nicest, coolest people through this community. So anyways, I could go on and on, but I won't. But just want to give major props to the horror family out there.
No, for sure. Family is definitely the right word for it. That's what I had in mind when you were saying that.
Yeah.
Paul says horror is his favorite genre as well. The question I asked you earlier, I didn't even know what my answer to that question would be. And all this time later, I think I finally got it when I asked if you could go back in time and
tell me. I would love to know your answer.
Movie.
Especially since we're going to be in a movie together, I should know what this answer is.
Right. I think mine would be, and this is not to take on any one particular role in the movie, just to be there. I'm going to say for me, it would be Somewhere in Time.
Oh, I love that movie. That's a beautiful, beautiful film.
What first time? What's that?
Tell me what is it you love about that movie? Because the
first time I saw that movie, I started crying like 45 minutes in, and then I calmed down, and then I cried through the last 30 minutes of the movie, and then I sat there on my couch and I sobbed for 2 hours after the movie ended. I was inconsolable.
That's great filmmaking when it has that kind of impact. And it resonated. You're still talking about that film years later. It's part of your DNA. It's part of who you are, right?
Oh, for sure. And going there where that was filmed, going to the Grand Hotel, just such an experience.
That's so cool that you got to go and see that in person and experience that. It was probably like surreal in a way because you see it and then you're there for sure. Yeah. Beautiful film. That's a great, great classic. I haven't seen that in a few years. I need to go back and watch that again now.
Oh, I could watch that over and over and over again.
Yeah,
I have the best.
I have some of those films too that you just like never get. I learn something new every time I watch it, even like the 100th watch of something for sure.
I had a couple opportunities to meet Jane Seymour, and one of them was there.
Oh my gosh! Did you get to say hi to her and hang out with her?
I did.
Oh, she's so beautiful too, and she's just an amazing person. I hope that was everything you wanted it to be.
It was. The first time I'd met her, she was introducing a product line like years and years and years ago. And she had these blue floral wine glasses that I fell in love with. Well, I managed to get like 3 of them before they sold out. So I'm like, what do I do with a set of 3 wine glasses? Like, this isn't right. I need at least 4. So eventually she released a line of martini glasses, the same thing. And I managed to get 4 before they sold out. So I had 2 problems. So now I've got 3 of one, 4 of the other, and my OCD brain does not like this.
We gotta put out the universe. You've got to get that fourth. I want you to get.
Oh wait, this gets even more complicated. So many years later, a friend of mine comes over. We're having wine. She brings her mother with. I'm like, well, there's 3 of us. I'll grab my 3 wine glasses. The very next day, I come home. There's a box on my porch, and it's got Jane Seymour's face on it. I open the box. My friend had managed to find 4 of these wine glasses that have been sold out for years and years and years. So now I have 7 wine glasses
and not 8. Ah! Yeah, we need to contact Jane Seymour stat and get you that. I'm sure she's probably got it in storage somewhere, right? She can give you a wine glass. That's so awesome. I love that story for many reasons.
Amanda said with her insomnia, she could be the final girl in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Insomnia. That's tough for sure. I've been there too, Amanda, for sure. But I love Nightmare on Elm Street. The first one is just classic for so many reasons. So many reasons.
I don't think I've ever really dealt with insomnia, but I'll get going on a project or I'll be visiting 2 different haunted or historic locations in 2 days and writing or filming my experience there. And then next thing you know, I've been awake for 3 days. It's not quite insomnia.
but you're fueled. That's a different kind of energy because it comes from a different place, I think, for sure. It's just that love of life, right?
As a result, I can usually go down in the middle of a sentence. Like when I get tired, I can be mid-sentence and just down I go.
That's me too. I go and then just drop. Yeah, so I hear you on that for sure.
Oh, I've been on many a paranormal investigation where they found me curled up in a corner. I know I'm the thumbnail for some people's investigation videos. You see me in a chair just like mouth wide open.
That's awesome. I love it.
Ridiculous. So real quick before we wrap up here, I think we're coming to the end. I'm just going to throw this out there since such a big part of my work is with the paranormal.
Yeah.
Have you had any paranormal experiences?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've had a couple. I paranormal, I'm going to use that term a little bit loosely, but just some really, really strange things, strange in a cool way. Right. But a lot of people coming to me after they've passed that I knew really well. I had a friend of mine that I went to junior high school with, of all things, and we ran into each other in an airport and had an amazing conversation. She had gone on and done a lot of fun stuff with singing. She had a great singing career, like a folk singing kind of career, and she passed away suddenly. And a couple of years later, I was in that same airport, and I swear I saw her in the crowd kind of thing. And I went over to where that person was that I thought it was, and she had said something to me about look at how far we've come, and where that person was. And I thought there was a sign for a product, and it said, "Look at how far we've come." So it was like one of the last things that she had said to me. So just have all these kind of might be coincidental, but I also feel like if I tapped into it, that psychic ability is there, but I've never used it or fostered it. Just premonitions and intuitions and all that kind of stuff for sure. But I've been in places. I have been in places where the energy is very strong and it's otherworldly, and that it's there, and doors closing and all that other kind of stuff for sure. I love it. I welcome it, not just as somebody who's somebody who loves horror movies, but just in the sense of the experience that oh, I got chosen to have this experience kind of thing. So yeah, very cool stuff.
Absolutely. No, I can relate to all of that. I'm the house psychic at a very haunted building in Lancaster, Ohio, the Fairfield County Infirmary. I have my own paranormal YouTube channel. I'm writing 3 books about my work in the paranormal, so that's a big, big part of my life. I see Mandy here has said, "Hey, Wren, why don't you say a line from Horror Hound Bites with Mary Kate?"
Oh, God, I don't know any off the top of my head. Let me see if I can pull up a script really fast, because they should be very handy script. But I'm happy to do that. I just have to find one of the great scripts that Mandy is. Here we go. Here's one from Velvet Vein, episode 3. It's such a fun, and as soon as I say something, I'll say it to try to get in character. So This is from episode 3. I don't want to give too much away because I know it hasn't been screened yet, but I'll just give a line. Floating in and out like a Victorian fever dream with commitment issues. No shoes, no pants, no physical form, and somehow still giving community theater phantom. Now, before I vanish, let me say this. Mary Kate, our mistress of the macabre, always someone in this crypt who understands how to mix bloodshed with balance, chic, sharp, spine-tingling. If anyone's keeping horror hot, it's her. Just such a fun role, right?
Yes, that's epic. I
hope I did Mandy justice with that. She'll tell me at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, that was literally off the cuff, everyone. So, but yeah, it's just such a fun character. That dialogue is just rich.
Paul's saying he has to go to bed. Thank you for having me. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight and jumped in the comments. I know we were going to be wrapping up around the 1 hour mark tonight, and we're just a little bit over. So, Wren, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share? Anything at all?
Just immense gratitude. Thank you, Christopher, for this time with you and the excellent, beautiful, thoughtful questions. Thank you to Anthony and Mandy. Just nothing but gratitude for everybody and for giving me the space to talk about my work and all those things. And I would love to work with you in some capacity, Christopher, if that should happen. And Mandy's listening and starting to write a script for us right now. So, but just thank you. I just appreciate it so much. And my heart is very full always for the people, the wonderful people I get to meet.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I know we'll definitely have a chance for our paths to cross again.
Thank you. I hope so.
So don't forget about Clown Motel Takeover next week. It is going to be absolutely epic. Episode 52. But I think that wraps things up for tonight.